I don't know how to start this one, you know. I'm a little
It's
bit.
already started. Shall I
I'm.
start
I'm a little bit. You can go on. How would you start it? How would you start it?
it? What's this called again? The Dunya'S gone crazy.
It's the Dunya'S Gone Crazy podcast.
Welcome everyone to the Dunya'S Gone Crazy podcast. This is your host with the most, Musin. We've got Eunice over here as well, and we've got our friend James Ridley, aka Saeed. Now, no, enough with the gun hands. Now, you may be wondering, what's with the hype? Now, the reason for the hype is because this is episode 10.
Double guns, double digits. Come on, come on,
Episode 10. Wow.
boys.
It's been a journey. Yeah, you just I've just taken over, but this is your podcast. Talk to us.
It's
How does it feel to
it's
be in
it's
episode 10, man?
it's been a journey, yo. You know what episode 10 means? Episode 10 is 10 weeks.
Mm.
Episode 10 is 10 weeks worth of stuff. And mind you, we've taken a lot of breaks within that. So, you know, it's actually been more than 10 weeks. But bro, like outside of school and work, this might be like the longest commitment I've ever made with something. This might be the longest commitment I've ever made with something. It's crazy, man. Dunya's going crazy, really. I mean, it's really fitting. Like,
Wow.
I mean, we're in double digits. The next
Wow, you seem lost for words, man.
the next milestone is triple digits,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
inshallah we'll get there
Inshallah.
when we get there. Hopefully, when we get to the triple digits, the viewership also reach triple digits, and the subscribership reaches 4 digits, because that way we'll start getting paid for this.
Inshallah.
Inshallah.
Yeah.
But
We're gonna look back at like this time now where we
right,
were like excited about 10
right.
Episodes.
But we have to be.
You
We have to be. We
Yeah,
have to
alhamdulillah.
be.
Celebrate the small wins, man.
We have to be. And this isn't a small win. This is a large victory for us, especially for people like me and Musin, for example, who in our friend group have tried to do something like this from like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So many times, the amount of Gmails I've created for specific YouTube channels that we wanted to start up to do something creative and just do something fun and brilliant, because I knew that we were capable of doing it, and we just never got started. We just never got around to it for all kinds of variety of reasons, a plethora of reasons that now in retrospect just
Excuses.
were nothing but excuses. We should have just done it. You know, we like for some of the things we were like, oh, let's do what do you call this? Let's write the script first. Script takes 2 months to write, and it's for a 10-minute video. It takes 2 months to write, and at that point, everyone's already done and moved on to something else. People have work, people have this, people have that, and it was just a lot of procrastination, a lot of laziness, a lot of excuses. But alhamdulillah, this time around, by the grace of God, we are here. We're doing episode 10. We've reached double digits. We've done at least 10 weeks worth of work and stuff like this. And for those of you, the first time, the day ones, the episode ones listeners, you know, we appreciate that. We love you for that. And for the new listeners, for the episode 10 listeners, thank you for joining us, and we hope that you love this stuff. We hope that you appreciate it, and we hope that we'll see you even to episode 100 and beyond, inshallah. So,
Inshallah, yeah.
um,
Wow. Right, can I read a message out from ChatGPT, which I've only started using recently?
go on.
I just let him know that we reached episode 10, and this is
Oh,
what it has to say.
1 second. He
Oh.
did just assume ChatGPT's gender, but please carry on.
Oh my god.
What? Okay. Sorry, I didn't hear what you said. But anyway, so it says, Congratulations to all the viewers on reaching the 10th episode. Your commitment to following this series is truly admirable. We hope that you have found the content informative, thought-provoking, and enjoyable.
Ah,
We encourage you to continue watching future episodes and share your thoughts and feedback with us. Your
comment down
input helps us to
below.
improve. Comment down below and create content that is relevant and useful to you. Thank you for your support and dedication to our program. We look forward to continuing to provide you with valuable insights and information.
Yeah, chat GPT, W in the chat, W in the chat, W in the chat. But I'm gonna do this now instead of like last episode, because bro, we were just coming back from Ramadan, like, you know what I'm saying, like things were still a little bit fuzzy. So I'm gonna do this now rather than later. People, if you like the video, like the video. If at some point of the video you agree with us, you disagree with us, comment it down below. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to the channel, you know, it'll help us a lot, and all these type of things, the algorithms, you know what I'm saying, chat GPT, like all these type of, bro, the robots are doing the thing, the numbers are numbering, the math is mathing. So in order for us to be a part of that, you got to be a part of that. You see what I'm saying? So be about it to be about it. Really check yourself before you wreck yourself.
That was deep. That was deep. Talking about deep.
Oh, pause.
Wait, yeah, let's pause.
Talk about deep. It's a motivational video waiting on the screen right now.
This one is very, very appropriate. This one is very appropriate for what we've achieved so far. And please, James, let's get into it. We can't full
Do we
screen
continue
this.
to
easy?
go on.
There is no easy road to what you want. It's a long road. You got a lot of people that want to be a doctor. Some people don't want to go to school for 8 years.
Right.
But the ones that go to school for 8 years end up being some of the best doctors ever and live a doctor's lifestyle. Some people say a doctor's lifestyle sucks. Not the doctor that dreamed to be the doctor.
Right,
he loves
right,
it
right.
because that's what he wanted to do. Everybody want to be a lawyer. Some people don't want to go to school for that 8 to 10 years. The ones that make it out end up being some of the best lawyers in the world and are very happy with their practice and the people that need it on a day-to-day basis. It took work to get there. Everybody that wants to do something doesn't understand the steps that you have to take to get there. And it's not just in entertainment, it's in all aspects of life, man. And that's what I learned at a young age. There is no...
Thank you, James. And that's it, really. You know, 10 weeks in the grand scheme of things is not a long time. It's not a long time. It's not even a lot of work. But we have to just sort of, you know, always go back to the my favorite quotes from my favorite anime, Hunter x Hunter, where he just says, you know, you gotta just enjoy things to the fullest. The little detours in life will always be more important than the goal that you were trying to move to in the first place. So these moments right here we have to enjoy, we have to savor, and onwards and forwards. Onwards and forwards. I say all this. It's been 9 minutes, and if this is your first time listening, if you don't know what we do or who we are, or what even this podcast is all about, well, I'm happy to tell you we just had a 30-minute conversation about what this podcast was about, and this podcast is just all about highlighting some of the week's most outrageous, heartbreaking, just like sometimes really, today will be one of those days of just really terrible news all over the world that just sort of shows just how crazy the Dunya'S going, man. Like from the days of in the days of sitting in front of the TV watching Codenames, Kids Next Doors, Dexter's Laboratory, Horrid Henry, Tracy Beaker. You see what I'm saying? What else did we used to watch? I even watched Voltus 5. Some of you might not know what that is. Gundam. Some of you might not know what that is. Like Power Rangers.
Mine's gone blank.
Pokemon.
Girls. Watch Powerpuff Girls.
Powerpuff Girls. I had
Mojo Jojo.
Bro, I had a whole thing. I'm not even gonna. I don't wanna go too much into it. But I had a whole thing with the Powerpuff Girls in terms of where we created a series and we created the villains and called them Powerpuff Dons. Like the my childhood was, this was like the easier times, and now we're getting into adulthood and we're starting to see the Dunya'S gone crazy, man. The Dunya'S gone crazy, and today is gonna be one of those days that will test us in terms of our maturity in talking about some of these things. And I hope we've already provided that beforehand anyway, if you've seen us before. So yeah.
Before we get on to
I'll go on.
the first one, Saeed has asked to pause for a second. I'm sure you can edit this out, but you good, Saeed?
Yeah, no, not really.
What's up?
So here's the thing. Because it's the 10th episode, there's no way in hell that I was going to do this episode without a camera.
Oh!
So I did manage to... Okay, no, it's bad news. This is bad news, by the way.
Wait, it's not paused right now, you know? Continue. Why is it? Okay,
so here's the thing. So I wanted to do my camera, but the issue is the battery literally just died. I was doing all the production for an hour, trying to sort everything out. So the battery died. If we could pause this podcast for half an hour just for me to charge it, we could continue doing at least I have some things planned. So we could do some things, or like have a camera for a portion of the podcast.
We don't
have some things planned.
We don't have to pause. You can just charge it while we're doing it, and then if at any point it's ready, you can just turn it on, and everyone and it'll be good for the viewers. It's like, hey, stay tuned if you want to see James' face.
Just give me a second. Let me go ahead and put it in charge.
We're gonna move on without you.
Okay.
And you just let us know when you're ready. Although, to be fair, there was another video I wanted him to play, but we don't need to get to that. Actually, it's not all the way very relevant to what we've got going on today. But it was a video that I saw on Instagram 2 days ago, and it was it was one of those things where it's like you give people a hand, but then they just want to take your whole body and eat it alive type thing.
Okay, wow.
And actually, no, we're gonna wait for James to come back, and we're gonna play that video. I want to play that video because it's actually kind of relevant. It's slightly relevant to the second video I showed last week. With all white people are racist. Damn,
that video.
That girl was crazy.
It's a day full of surprises today. We've got this video we're waiting on. Look at the suspense now. See, I can't even do no editing. I gotta wait until he gets back. Well, how long is that gonna be? 10 minutes? 5 minutes? Half an hour?
We just got to talk over the dead space until he comes back. But I say all this, like, the news we have today, guys, like it's traumatic, man. A lot of this stuff is really crazy, actually. Like,
it's scaring people away, man.
It's scary, really. If you would see, like, if I did the chapters, hopefully I did, you could already kind of scroll through and seen what it is about today.
Oh.
And probably from
so
the title.
Stay if you dare.
Stay if you dare. It's some scary stuff out there in the dunya, man.
See, one thing that I don't like, when we first started the podcast, you would send us the articles that we were going to discuss. We'd read through them before. And now it's just like we just jump on and it's like, hey, we're talking about this. I'm like, oh, what do you mean we're talking about this?
And honest,
like, we're just there. And now you give these little, like, these things now that are like, this is scary. Like, you're like, oh yeah, we're going to discuss the things we're going to discuss today. Woo!
Well, it's not scary, but it's very heartbreaking and extremely sad.
That doesn't help.
And I hope we don't scare the people away or like just make them sad. Like, I didn't want to hear this, man, on a Wednesday morning, or at least California morning. Let me say that. You know what? While we're waiting for Saeed, I'm probably gonna cut all this out, but just in case I don't, because it might look for an interest. It might be an interesting conversation when I listen back. In about 4 or 5 weeks' time, ladies and gentlemen, my background is gonna change. I'm not gonna be in the same house anymore. We're moving. It's gonna be a different point of view. It's probably gonna be a little bit more skeletal because it's gonna be a bare house for a little bit. But I don't know. Hopefully it will be better. Hopefully it will look slightly better. But I mean, how can how can you beat this background already? You've got greenery. Do you know what I mean? You have this. What do you call this lighting again? I forgot what this.
Lamp?
No. I don't know what I forgot what this lighting was called. Key light or whatever it was.
Yeah, it's a lamp.
But it's not a lamp. It's a floor light.
Apologies for that.
Um,
So is everything okay? Are you hibernating?
how do you mean?
Because you said you're going to be in a bear house.
Yeah, I'm gonna be in a bear house. So porridge
Oh,
every day type. Porridge every day and all these type things. Anyway,
that's a good one.
James, would you please go to the Instagram video? I want everyone to watch this. You can't full screen that, can you? No?
Nah.
Yeah, just do
Oh,
that.
that works.
Do that. It doesn't really, as long as we can hear it. Go ahead, please. Oh, what are you doing with life?
Taken into consideration the cultural differences.
But those cultural differences weren't often talked about when Andrea signed up to the Homes for Ukraine scheme. She lives in a diverse part of Birmingham. After a week of staying there, her guest told her there were too many Muslims in the area.
We were quite shocked at how difficult she found different cultures.
She felt there were just too many Muslims.
Too many Muslims, too many people with different skin colours.
Her guest's son was enrolled into the local school, where the majority of children happened to be black and Asian.
And then to just have her complain about the demographic of the school and going, well, he can't be safe there. There's not enough white kids, essentially. The majority of my neighbours are Muslims. A lot of them are Kashmiris or Pakistanis, Indians, and they're wonderful people. And you just felt if you just would sort of give them the time, perhaps we'd come to the same conclusion.
They both agreed to end the placement.
Thank you, James. The audacity to suggest that you'd somehow feel not safe in this home that you've been invited to because you've just been kicked out of your place because of war. And you think this place is somehow not safe because it's got Muslims and black children and Asian children and all these type of things. After you've literally just been war-torn by white people.
I get where she's coming from.
No, you don't. Shut
Controversial.
up. No, you don't. Shut up.
I get where she's coming. Look, if you have gone through like trauma such as that, plus the society or the culture you lived in, there weren't many like Muslims around. Like I remember going to China. China was one of the strangest places I went to because I was seen as like there aren't many black people in China. When I was walking around, people were staring at me and my brother. Like they were just staring because it was like, oh, a black person. And one time I remember I was actually in Australia and we had some people. They seemed I don't know if they were Chinese, but they were Oriental. And I had like this big afro at the time. And they came to me and they were like, hey, can we take a picture with you? Like it's a zoo. So I'm like, yeah, why not? I thought, yeah, sure, let's go. I went to take a picture with them. And I'm standing next to like, there was like a family, massive family, maybe like, I don't know, 15, 20 people. And I stand next to one of the grannies or one of the grandmothers. And just as they're about to take the picture, I feel a hand on my bum.
Wait.
And I look at the granny and she's kind of just like smiling for the camera. Her hand is just there. So yeah, I don't know.
The difference, whilst both scenarios are extremely uncomfortable, the difference is that neither of you are there to neither of you are there like sort of like under duress. These people have been kicked out and forced out of their homes in Ukraine because a bunch of white people from that country that believe in certain religions of that country attacked your country. And you came to this country.
Yeah, okay.
And you came to this country and received a warm welcome from this home. And you went outside and said, wait, these don't look like white people. No, my son can't be safe here. Let me move. La hawla. What? Excuse me?
All right.
Excuse me? Excuse me.
If I was told that white people killed black people, and I was taken to a place, safe haven, but it was all white people, I'd be afraid to send my child to their schools and to integrate with their societies and so on. I'm not saying it's right. That's not, but I'm saying it's not the individual's fault.
It is their fault. How dare you?
Yeah, although they shouldn't be complaining about it. We can agree on that.
How dare
Especially
you?
since
How
it's because of
dare
white
you?
people that they were kicked from Ukraine to start with.
How
So,
dare you?
Are Russians considered white people?
Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. And
wait,
they
according to your definition, are they not?
yes, they are. They're white people. They're white people. If you're gonna generalize, I'm gonna generalize too. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Are you crazy? This is what I don't like, man.
Aren't Russians Asian?
No, they're not. A large part of their country is in Asia, but they're part of the Europe.
Oh, they
I don't think all these identity politics cares about the region of where you're from. They just look at your skin color and they're like, okay, you're white.
No, well, I mean, in terms of power, I mean, they're Europe. They're part of Europe. They're European based on their power and stuff like that. Because like Kazakhstan and all these type of things are Asian because they're poor, and not as well off and don't have as much power, even though they're sort of within the same region and all these type of things. I might be wrong. Maybe my geography's off. Maybe I didn't mean to say Kazakhstan, but whatever. You know what? Why don't you go back to your... Anyway, we're going to start the show.
I don't support that message, but yeah, let's go on.
We're going to start the show. We're going to start the show officially, and we're going to go on to our first topic of the day. All right, mature time. Let me catch my... Story number one of the day. Headline reads, Louisiana woman accused of killing boyfriend's 6-year-old daughter, leaving body in bucket outside home of girl's mother. So
that's disturbing.
43-year-old Bunnak Landon was charged with first-degree murder and obstruction of justice last Wednesday. 6-year-old Bella Fontenelle was reported missing on Wednesday morning by her father. Upon the notification, the Harahan police then began searching and canvassing the neighborhood, looking for the daughter. And 2 blocks away from the house is where the mother of the girl. So Hannah, Bunnak Landon, also known as Hannah, lives with the father. So they're together, and the mother lives 2 blocks away from them. So when they went to the mother's house, they discovered the chlorine-filled 10-gallon bucket on the front lawn of the mother's home, where inside was the daughter's body. Having made that discovery, the police then went around and canvassed the neighborhood, searching for information and evidence and all these type of things. And what they found was CCTV footages from some of the cameras of the CCTV homes and all these type of things. And they saw Bunnak Landon pulling the bucket in a wagon towards the home of the mother at around 9:35 the night before, Tuesday night. Um, preliminary autopsy showed the cause of death to be um, strangulation. Was it? Yeah, manual strangulation along with blunt force injuries, blunt front injuries to the head. Um, reports then showed that Landon showed up at the police department shortly after midnight at the early hours of Wednesday. So the story, the timeline, as far as we're concerned, is kind of like uh, she killed the daughter, allegedly killed the daughter in the home of the father, put it in the bucket, wheeled the bucket towards the home of the mother, and then went to the police station at the early hours of Wednesday morning, midnight, and then she was taken to an area hospital for evaluation. But the authorities didn't say didn't say what she did or why she was taken there, why she was being asked for a medical review. So yeah, Sheriff Joseph Lapinto says that we believe Bella was killed at the father's house and then transported over to the mother's house. And Jefferson Parish Coroner Dr. Jerry Svitanovich said that the child deaths are always terrible, especially ones like this that should not have happened. We don't know more about the story. Obviously, they're gonna do a lot more investigations and searching for informations and all these type of things. So there's not really more outside of that we know of. We'll update you when we can update you. But yeah, those are the current facts of the story. How we feeling?
I mean, there's not much feeling. This is horrible, man. Such a horrible situation. But here's the thing: was she like, is she just a psychopath or was she upset?
Well, we don't know. We don't know. So there were reports suggesting that her and the mother had previous altercations before, to the point where like police were notified and there's like a report about it and stuff like that. So as far as I'm aware, her and the mother were already kind of not in a good place, but there was no sort of indication or no reports.
Her meaning the 6-year-old.
Yeah, her being sort of like no, her and the mother. So
the
lady,
boyfriend's mother,
the lady,
or her own mother.
the lady, the alleged.
So the lady
the suspect.
the lady that killed the.
So
the
the suspect, Bunnak Landon, there were reports of her having altercations with the mother of the child previously.
Oh,
already.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but in terms of the relationship between Bella, the 6-year-old, and Miss Landon herself, there's no sort of reports surrounding that. But again, we're in the early sort of stages of the investigation and all these type of things.
Wow. You know what that really says? Like, what comes to mind for me is, like, I never really understood when I was younger, when my mum used to be so cautious of having other adults around me. And I'm not talking about like strangers. I'm talking about family friends. I'm talking about uncles, aunties, like just everyone. Like the circle of the people she trusted was so small.
Right.
And I never understood it as a kid. I remember even like when I used to go to the toilet, like, and a lot of parents do this, like this is like not completely related to the story, but they'll take like their younger kids, like even if it's a boy, to the women's toilets, like with them basically, right? And even if they're not using the toilet with them, they'll just say, you go in this stool, I'll go in here, and then we come out together basically. Like, so she can keep an eye. And yeah, it's like, as I grow, I realize, like we say the Dunya'S gone crazy, I realize that it's like the place is it's a dangerous place, especially for kids, no matter who it is.
Yeah.
And it's sad that we have to be so careful. Like, my mom had to be so careful. I never got it. But now I'm like,
which
man, you hear stories
mm,
like this. Damn.
which is an insane type of sort of thing to think about, especially when you hear like phrases like "it takes a village." It takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village and
Mm,
all these type of things. But in a world where it's gone crazy, what is the village? What does that mean?
mm,
Is the village your close community or your close family or your close friends? And even then, like as the mother of the child, you know, you would hope and feel that your husband your the father of your child um is smart enough or is well enough to be able to find a partner who won't treat your
right.
child badly, let alone kill them.
Mm,
Yeah, 100%.
So to a certain degree, you would want to hope to trust. You would want to hope that you can trust your partner or your previous partner in that way. But
mm.
like clearly in this instance, that wasn't the case. And yeah, man, it's very very sad, very very sad. 6 years old, man. Like
Yeah.
it's
But how much
very.
of the
Mm.
how much can you like how much of this is like the father's fault in a sense?
Well, fault is
It's a tricky word because
yeah.
I'm sure the mother is blaming him in some way.
oh,
Of course, yeah. You left your
probably.
child in the care, and I don't know, maybe it was like a legal decision to for the child to be in his care. I don't know, but
Yeah.
yeah, if your child is in someone's care, phew,
Yeah, like
yeah,
you
like who is
chose
to blame?
well, mind you as well that him, the father, and the suspect lived together. Like they lived
Mm,
together in this house. Like she wasn't some woman that came in and out. Like she lived together with this man, and clearly like he trusted her enough to the point where where he's comfortable with her living together, and then having his child with them at some points. Um, so I don't know how much. I don't know what the fault is. Like you said, we don't know. Like I said, we don't know the full story. So we don't know if it was a break. We don't know what the triggers were. We don't know if if we don't know if it was premeditated. But then again, like a 10-gallon bucket, like I don't know where someone just gets I don't know what house just has a random 10-gallon bucket
mm,
Yeah.
um, available to them. So just from that alone, you would assume that some type of premeditation um, was involved. But that's
Sure.
all. That's all speculations at this point.
mm, yeah. Ah, well, thoughts go out to the family,
Of
friends,
course, man.
neighbors. Yeah, because like that girl was probably going to school with other people. Like now they're gonna have to like one when something like this happens in a community, like the parents are now gonna have to explain to their 6-year-old kids,
Mm.
like your friend is not here anymore.
Mm.
And they can't tell them the whole story. Like maybe the kids were even like, and nowadays kids have the internet.
Right.
This is probably massive in their community. They might hear from this person, that person, and if they want to search it up, they can probably just search it up. Like it obviously depends on how much like control parents have in terms of it, but like they could probably just search up and find exactly the same article you're reading right now, and they're too young to understand, but they still have access to read it.
It's true. But you know what I
Mm,
found out recently is that this is going off on a tangent. Um, some kids, despite the fact that they have so much access to the internet and all these types of things, they still rely quite heavily on their parents for information.
mm,
So, um, I'm not gonna say who, but I know someone who's a mother, and recently her 13, or I don't know how old she was actually, but her daughter started having her you know natural stuff, the stuff that happens during puberty, and at her age, you know, she has a phone and all these type of things, rather than just Googling what's happening to me, like, she went to her.
Mm.
She went to her and like discussed to her with her, like, you know, this is happening to me and all these type of things. And then eventually that conversation moved on to like how are babies made?
Mm.
And she asked her mother that question as opposed to just Googling it. And I thought, like, I told the mom, I was like, yo, like, you should appreciate that to the fullest of
She's
levels.
doing such a great job as a
100%
mother.
key.
Yeah, the fact that your child is comfortable enough to come and ask you like these
As
questions,
opposed to just
and
Googling it herself.
yeah, when it's so easy to just find
Yeah.
information. Like back in the day, people used to be like, if they were afraid to talk to their parents, you'd go to the library and go to like the librarian and be like, yeah, I need this book. And the librarian would be like, it's okay, I won't tell anyone, just go there. And then you would go and like take it out and you like hide it behind like under your shirt, and you go to the librarian, hey, I want to take it. Was this embarrassing thing. And then you would go and you'd have to hide it from your parents.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. But yeah, I told her like you should be fully appreciative of that stuff, man. I think like that's so cool that your daughter was like comfortable enough to ask you for
Mm.
information as opposed to go somewhere else where the information is just so ubiquitous. And I think you should cherish those moments. Yeah, it was good. It was good. But just moving back to the story. There's not really much more to say outside of just, and even this has been said already. Thoughts and prayers to the families and friends that have been affected by this. And you know, at least in our beliefs, in our religion, you know, the 6-year-old girl is promised paradise, and you know she's already, you know, she'll be there. She'll hopefully be happier than what she's had to endure, at least in her small lifetime here. And we can only pray that she receives the highest of levels of paradise that there is achievable.
I mean,
I mean, inshallah.
What a sad story. And you know what's and we're gonna move on to the second story, and it doesn't get better. It just gets kind of sadder a little bit.
Can we? Is there a happier one?
There's eventually gonna be a happier one, but we're gonna move on to that because it's
Feeling sad already, man.
'cause
How sad are you gonna make me today?
I don't want it to be ridiculous and then sad again. Like I don't want to take the mic because it does get sad. So we're gonna move on to our second story of the day. Headline says, "We tried to stop her." Kenyan teenager tells how cult starved his mother. Isa Ali's mother was found dead in a shallow grave in the Shakahola forest last week. She was part of more than 100 bodies so far that have been uncovered and found in the forest in Kenya. Her mother is suspected to have been one of the many, many victims of the charismatic church leader, Paul Mackenzie Nthenge. I don't know how to pronounce those last names. Nthenge. Isa Ali says that 2 years ago, his mother took all of her belongings to join all the other followers of the church leader at the forest. I say church leader, but I think that the Kenyan government has actually deemed and called this movement to be a cult, and that he's a cult leader.
okay.
Isa Ali says that Paul Mackenzie told them that forest, the Shakahola forest, was where Jesus' second coming was going to happen. And part of the cult was that they were told that they were brainwashed, really, and told that if they fasted to death, then they would meet Jesus. So on the 15th of April, one day after the police raided the forest, following a tip-off, The Tenge was arrested on suspicion of luring his followers into the remote area where he brainwashed them into starving to death. Hassan Musa, a Kenya Red Cross regional manager, said that by Friday, so this happened Wednesday or Thursday last week. Well, no, on 15th of April. And then on Friday after that, 410 people were reported missing by their loved ones, including 227 children under the age of 18 years. So far, more than 100 bodies have been discovered, and the forest is now considered to be an active crime scene with people still searching the area looking for even more bodies, which they feel like would be a part of this thing. There have been survivors. They've been taken to critical care. Some people were found alive but died before going to the hospital. Before reaching the hospital, or when they arrive at the hospital, they passed away. And the story is still kind of uncovering itself. They're still looking for more bodies and all these type of things that they think are there.
Oh. How long does
I
it
have to
take for
be honest.
them? I'm just curious how long it
Go
would
on.
take for them to starve to death.
It takes a little while, but with it's really the water. Like your body doesn't last
Mhm.
very long without water. I think it's like, I don't know. I remember reading a stat. I don't remember it was. Obviously, it was general. It depends on everybody though, right? Like everybody needs different types of nutrients and all these type of things. But I think water was like 4 days. I think something like that. After 4 days,
Yeah.
without water, you kind of just perish. But I might be wrong in that. The body can last a long time
Apparently.
without food.
Yeah, so let me see. So with no food and no water, the maximum the body can survive is thought to be about 1 week.
Oh, 1 week.
With water only but no food, survival time may extend up to 2 to 3 months.
Yeah, because what happens is that your body ends up eating itself. So it'll last. So like you'll start to eat your fats first, and then your protein, or whichever one. There's a whichever one is more efficient, because your body will always go for what's more efficient. So yeah. So the
Yeah,
sugars.
that's health line.
Yeah, the sugars first, and then probably the fat, and then the protein. That's why you see people just become so skeletal when they're malnourished, because that's literally their body eating themselves, eating itself.
Yeah. Man, so sad. Like what would lead somebody to leave their entire life and go and follow somebody? I don't know.
It's
I guess it's faith. Like
it's
but it's misguided faith.
it's so many things. It's many things. It's not necessary. It's not even sometimes faith. Sometimes it's poverty. Sometimes all it takes is when you're in a place of poverty, or a place of trigger warning, depression, or you have like thoughts of self transitioning, and you have thoughts of negativity, and you're in a space of negativity, and then here comes this person who is so confident in their words, is so charismatic in the way that they deliver this so-called solution to your problems, in a place where you can't get any worse mentally speaking. That might be your savior. And so you're just willing to take on everything and anything that they say, and especially if it's grounded on something that is so old in its foundation, like the Bible, or something like Jesus, and all these type of things, like a belief that is so old. So when people base their words on that, it might seem a little bit more credible, and all these type of things.
Yeah.
But it's, I don't know. Like, I outside of that though, I don't know how people. I think I'm lucky. I was lucky enough to be put into a position where I'm able. Well, I'm number one. I'm very privileged in life where I'm. I haven't been in that situation of being very very down to the point where I couldn't find any other way out. Of course, I also have my religion where I know I can always turn to. I can always turn to God where I can't be, you know, where I don't need to do certain things in order to meet him or whatever it may be. So I've been educated in you know in that aspect. So I've been very privileged in my life to have that type of knowledge and have those resources to never be in this type of position. And what that allowed me is to be able to distinct certain things, like from what is good to what is bad. Like, I know starving myself to death is bad to me. And but some people, you know, I don't even want to say the word gullible, because it's not gullibility. Sometimes it's faith, like you said. And it's a faith and a con man.
What did he get out of this? Because
I don't know.
that's what I was thinking before. Like,
'Cause
it sounded like he was like a con man, right? But they just starved themselves.
They
What
mentioned
does he get out of that?
they mentioned no like money or anything like this. They haven't reported anything about him really. All they've really done reported about him is that the Kenyan government have condemned him and called him to be a cult leader.
So wait, how many people weren't like died? You know, because of
Was
him.
so far over 100 bodies have been uncovered.
Okay.
But on Friday, 410 people were reported missing by their loved ones. And more than half of those were children under the age of 18 years old. So, yeah, man. I don't know what to say outside of that, really. Like, it's just such a sad, sad, sad event. Like, I don't even know, like... I feel really sorry for the kid, because this article here was from The Guardian, and it's from the perspective of the kid, 16-year-old kid. And from the way he tells the story, sort of, it seems like they had kind of a big family a little bit. So now they have to sort of like just take care of each other in that sense.
Yeah.
So she left them 2 years ago, and she actually came back the year before, like last year, and he spoke about how she was completely unrecognizable to him. Like she'd lost so much weight, she'd lost so much like roundness to her face, and she was just like, he was completely unrecognizable to him. And she left again, obviously, and in a year, like it had been a year, and the next thing that he heard about her was that her body was found in a shallow grave the week before.
Yeah, very, very sad.
Very sad.
It's another one of those things, man. We're gonna move on. We're not really go into that too much more.
Before we move on, let's just.
No.
Is the next one a sad one too?
No, it's not. It's not. Before we move on, we're gonna move on, but I will just say, again, another thoughts and prayers to the families and friends of the people that have died, to the people who reported their family members missing. I hope you find them. I hope you find them alive, and I hope God has mercies on their souls when you do find them.
I mean,
What a sad news, man. This week was just full of so much death, and it's like so much death, and it's just like sometimes it's like we know people die, we understand that death, taxes, and more death. These are the guarantees of the world, and it's just like, but it's always sometimes in the manner in which people go. Do you know? Do you know who else died this week? I don't know if you guys heard. Jerry Springer died.
I'm not familiar with Jerry Springer.
You don't know Jerry Springer? The Jerry Springer Show? He was the guy that you probably have seen the clips of. You are not the father.
Yes, I know those ones. Yeah.
He was the host of that show, the Jerry Springer Show, and he recently passed away. Passed away though, but he passed away like from the reports anyway, in his own home, surrounded by his family and loved ones and all these type of things.
Okay.
There's so much death this week, but again, it's never really always about the death, but rather the journey towards death that is so heartbreaking sometimes. Like starving to death must be so painful. Like,
yeah,
for some of these people, it's like some of these people like decided that they really just wanted to meet Jesus in their head, so they were gonna do this, and this man had convinced them to do that. But some people, it's like I can only presume, but I can almost sort of guarantee that some people were like, this earth right now and the life that I have in it is so unbearably painful and sad and horrible that I would rather do this on the chance that I might meet Jesus. But even if I don't, I'd rather do this than carry on living this. I don't see a light at the end of the tunnel if I continue to live. But at least with this one, I can take the chance that there might be a light at the end of this.
Yeah.
And to those people, it's terrifying. And I hope myself and all the people around me will never feel that way, where it's, like, it's such a horrible life that I'm living that I'd rather not be living it anymore. And I hope,
and if anyone ever does get to that point, talk
to professionals.
Talk to a professional, yeah.
There are so many resources now that are available to us for free. But talk to a professional. Talk to, if you don't have your loved ones, if you do, try to talk to them too. Find yourself a community. I don't want to speak like I know what I'm talking about, because I've never been in that position. But yeah, man, talk to the professionals, and all these type of things, man. And we hope we find what it is that you're looking for to provide yourself with fulfillment and all these type of things. We okay to move on?
Yes, sir.
I'm more than happy to move on. So I'm feeling, what I'm feeling right now. I'm just feeling just somber.
It's very
sad.
It's very somber. It's been a very melancholy week. I will say that. So our last story out of the day, outside of the Florida man news and Faith in Humanity Restored news. The headline reads, balding man's incredible reaction after he gets a fringe tattooed onto his forehead, then sees himself in the mirror for the first time. So there's a video for this. I think I believe
let's take a look at this.
No, but before we play the video, 26-year-old balding man Gianluca decided to visit his local tattoo parlor to see if they could salvage his diminishing hairline. And then Italian tattoo artist Maria Gina Altabelli, who's 30 years old, who owns and works in Gypsy.G Tattoo and Piercing in Fondi, Italy, recorded the process.
Really naming and shaming the entire place.
Recorded the process of tattooing John Luca's head with the fringe design. She explained that when John Luca requested the tattoo, she was shocked and unsure whether it was a good idea, but eventually decided to complete the job, which she thought, she feels as a tattoo artist for a very long time, went very, very well. And she is such a good tattoo artist that she said that the she only did it in an hour because she's so good. She's been doing it for so long. She's been doing this for so long that she only needed an hour to do this tattoo. So we're gonna play the video, and please, James, go ahead. Oh, actually, James, wait, stop. You can mute this because they don't actually say anything. I don't want the music to like play. Go ahead. So he's getting a French tattoo. So that's the stencil. That's the stencil of the tattoo.
What the hell?
And now she's about to tattoo. There you go. Remember, guys, this only took less than an hour.
Okay. This can't be the finish. What the hell is that? It's like a mustache.
Look. You see Play it again. Let it play. Look. That's the stencil. So, wait, pause it. So, she saw that stencil, right? And thought, okay, this is what I'm going to trace. This is it. This is what I'm going to do. And then she's like, all right, cool, let's do this. This is 1 hour because she's so good. She only needed an hour. She didn't need more than an hour. Look. Go. Okay, pause it. Why does she leave a gap? What's the gap here?
Yeah. What? But wait a second. It doesn't work.
It doesn't. You know what it looks like? It looks like the Batman logo.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Or like a thick mustache. What the hell?
It's a Batman logo, bro. But I don't understand. Look, she couldn't. Why didn't she just make it straight? Like the fringe doesn't need to be curled. But the thing is, right? Look, she's left like gaps, like on the forehead between the thing. Like, you know, like sometimes naturally, like when someone has a fringe, it would just kind of separate. You don't need to do that though. The separation. She stenciled this. She removed the stencil and said, "Yeah, that's it. This is what I'm gonna do." She didn't feel like she needed to, like, alter the stencil a little bit. So play it. So she's finished. She's like, "Yeah, good, amazing."
Look how proud of herself.
Look, yeah, I did this. It's like when a chef, you know, the plate thing, and he opens. He's like, "This is the food." Look at his face. Immediately, it's like, "No, what have I done? What just happened?"
Yeah, this is just a disaster.
Oh my goodness. Oh my days. Oh man.
Wait, what could you just go to like the Turkish place where they put like the hair in you? I don't know, like the hair implant.
I see it's cheaper.
There's too many Muslims.
Maybe. Wow. Okay.
Well, I wish him all the best.
I don't. I hope he gets ridiculed until he removes this.
Astaghfirullah, come on, bro. Like,
no, I hope he gets ridiculed.
He made a bad decision.
No,
sometimes you make bad decisions in life.
Bro, This is not a bad decision. This is a bunch of bad decisions that have now resulted into this. You see, yeah, one of my favorite TV shows of all time recently. It's called Ozark, right? You should watch it. It's a great show. And at some point, I think it was like season 1 or season 2, he finally confronted his wife about her cheating. And then she allured to the idea that she allured to the idea that it was a moment. Like it was a moment. And he said no. It was a series of moments that led to that moment. At every single point you could have said no. When he bought you the coffee, you could have said no. When he touched your hand for the first time, you could have said no. When he touched your hair for the first time, you could have said no. When he brushed your hair behind your ears for the first time, you could have said no. When he picked up your hand to stand up, you could have said no. So many no's you could have done. You could have said. You had so many opportunities to say no, but at every single point, you said yes. So these are a consequence of so many bad decisions that led to this grand finale of the motherload of terrible decisions. I hope until he removes this, he gets ridiculed for it. Are you crazy?
It's only affecting it. Leave the guy alone, man. He's made a mistake.
No, he made a series of mistakes. He made a series of mistakes that led to this. I hope he gets ridiculed for it. Look,
and he's gonna regret every single one of those mistakes.
But you know what's even crazier than this? Okay, you see where the video is paused right now? That's his bald spot. That's the corner. The tattoo didn't even corner it. It didn't even cover it. That's the bald spot. There's no hair that will grow there. And look, it didn't even cover it. Nah, man. Nah. I'm sorry. That's hilarious.
It could have been more seamless, yeah. Like a transition from hair to tattoo.
This is why God told you to not tattoo yourselves. Look what happens when you tattoo yourselves. Look.
I wish him all the best. I wish him all the best. I wonder if he has kids.
He's 26 years old and he's Italian, so he may probably have 5 already. But bro, this is
no comment on that. About all the best. All the best.
It's like
man said all the best. No, man.
Do you know what this looks like?
Saying,
bro?
As you might have guessed, the finished product is bad, but that's subjective.
It's not
to
subjective.
someone. They may like it. Someone may find that attractive. Someone may, you know what? Just let him live his life. Maybe this is how he finds his future habibti.
When she was doing the stencil for this style the night before, because you know she had to have done it the night before, because she's very good, remember. She doesn't need a long time. So she only did this the night before, right? She was smoking that watching Dora the Explorer and Batman at the same time at 2 monitors. She was watching Batman and Dora the Explorer. That's how she got the idea of a fringe and the Batman logo at the same time. She said, you know what would look good is if Dora the Explorer's fringe was the Batman logo. Look, it's the Batman logo, bro.
Leave him alone. He's just...
No. I'm going to move on, but no, that's not a leave alone type moment. He regret that instantly. You see the way he looked at himself? He saw like a second and then his hand just went to his face. Oh. Look. Boop. No. Gianluca, I hope you find the money to remove this tattoo from your head. You look ridiculous. You look like I'm not gonna continue that sentence, but you look horrible. It's not subjective. It's a very, very bad tattoo. It doesn't even cover your bald spots. It doesn't achieve what you wanted it to achieve, and I hope you find a way to remove it. and in finding the money to remove it, I hope you find God. And I hope he guides you
I agree with that.
to where you need to be, because I hope this was the wake up call that you needed. You silly little Italian man, silly man.
Okay, now we're going too deep.
A fringe. We're gonna move on. Gianluca, I hope the best for you, man. I hope you find the money to get rid of that tattoo, because that's horrible. You silly Italian man. So I hope that was a nice little break from all the sadness and from all the somberness and the melancholiness and the tragedies that we spoke about today. Because in Florida Man news, we're gonna go back to that sadness and somberness and tragedy and death.
Oh no. No.
So Florida Man news, Florida Man news, Florida Man news, Florida Man news. Woo! Whatever.
Let's go.
Florida man who murdered his wife with a bat, strangled 4 kids, is sentenced to death.
The hell?
In 2019, a fight, so this was 3 years ago or 4 years ago. In 2019, a fight ensued between Michael and Casey Jones when she accused him of cheating on her. She found this out by scrolling through his phone, I suppose, combing through his phone. And during the fight, Michael says that, and it was allegedly a vicious fight. So I assume by that it was already quite violent at that point. During the fight, Michael says that Casey had picked up a bat and raised it at him, but he ultimately took the bat from her and used it to bludgeon her to death. Jones then told the investigators that he wrapped the wife's corpse in blankets, stuffed it in a tote bag, and placed it in a closet in their home. He then panicked and then grabbed her phone and started like posting on social media to sort of hide the death. And she's still active and all these type of things. He then took his 2 stepchildren and he then took his 2 stepchildren to stay with their dad, and then dropped off his own children to his grandmother's home. But then I don't know what happened to the timeline, but at some point he managed to get the stepchildren back to him, and his own children back to him. And Cameron Bowers, 8 years old, he strangled to death. The day after, Preston Bowers, so these are his 2 stepchildren, he choked and then drowned in a bathtub. And then at some point he took his 2 toddlers, 2 years old and 11 months, and he wanted to actually like confess. But at some point during that wanting to confess, he changed his mind, went home and drowned his own 2 children to death. He said to the investigator that he felt like there was no other way out of the scenario. He felt like he was already in too deep, essentially, and he just kind of did what he had to do. I don't actually know why he killed the stepchildren to begin with. I don't know. I didn't see in the reports as to why he did that to begin with, but he did. And last November, he pleaded guilty. Jones pleaded guilty last November, but his lawyers highlighted that his dysfunctional childhood is to be blamed in pushing him for a life term. Oh, sorry. His lawyers highlighted that his dysfunctional childhood in pushing for a life term rather than a death sentence. So they'd rather that he just serve life rather than just be killed. And they told jurors that Jones was molested by his father and beaten by his stepfather, and that he would hear voices that command him to commit criminal acts. So they're making it like a mental health issue type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do you guys think? Well, let me say it this way. He's already gone. He's gone. That's it. His life's done. But would you send him to death, or would you make him serve life instead?
Oh, death, man, instantly,
It's
instant death.
crazy when I hear about like the death sentence in these countries, like in America and certain states, where people are like, "Oh my goodness, you don't have the death sentence in like Islamic countries." It's just funny to me when I hear stuff like that. But anyway, um,
I
yeah,
think, yeah,
all the
send
best.
him to the best judge. Send him to Allah and let him deal with this guy. I'm not gonna lie.
But if like, I don't know, I always go to like a mental health. Like you always, I feel like a great way to approach life is no matter what happens, no matter what people do, always try and find excuses for that person. Because a lot of the time, if someone does something that's like similar to that, there's something that's happened. Not that it's an excuse that excuses them that they should be forgiven or anything like that, but it's important to understand people, like how, like what got them to the point where they felt that they needed to do all of that. Yeah.
Well, his lawyers say that it's because he was molested by the
It
two
sounds
male
like
figures.
schizophrenia.
Well, let's not diagnose him.
No,
But
I mean, with what they said, with the he hears like voices telling him
yeah,
what to do.
yeah, but I mean, nonetheless, um, yeah, they say that it's because he was molested by his father and beaten up by his stepfather, and like that's one of the reasons why they should just like he's a very troubled man already, mentally speaking.
Hmm.
So let's not kill him, but let's just make him serve life. I always thought though, maybe I'm wrong in this now, but I always felt like serving life behind bars is always worse than actual death itself.
Yeah, especially in his case, since he's going through that, and after he did this, I'm sure it made his, I guess, his mental health even worse. So living, in the jail for his whole life after he've done all this, yeah, death would have been, I guess, easier for him as well.
But then the thing with me is that I always did used to think that. But as I understand it, prison in of itself, if you somehow find a way to acclimate, if you live there long enough, it becomes a home. If you find
True.
your, if you find a way to acclimate, and again, I've never been to prison. And I hope I never go to prison, right? But you find a way to sort of like just acclimate to the life, to the environment, and to the lifestyle of like, oh, how to barter, or how to not die, and how to not get killed, and all these like what to say, what not to say. Eventually, you'll find people that you can be friends with, quote unquote, and all these type of things. So I did always used to think like death was always worse because you don't have your freedom for the rest for the rest of your life. I always used to think prison was way worse than death because of that. But I do see now the point of some people who like for example, the grand the dad of this of the two children, and the grandmothers of the of the other two children, like
Hmm.
pushing for death. No, like you've violated the lives of the people we love, and for the father of the other two children, you've violated the lives of my legacies.
Hmm.
So you should face the most heinous of punishments that is available to us by law. And if that's by death, then that's by death.
Hmm.
I get it. I understand the train of thought there.
I think the family have every right to
push for it.
to make that decision. Yeah. I think they do because it's their lives that have been affected the most,
Exactly.
and it's not going to fix anything, but it may, I don't know, make them feel like justice has been served.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At that level, at least, yeah.
Yeah, whether it has or hasn't is another argument.
Yeah. So let me just say we're gonna move on, but let me just say the names again: Preston Bowers, Cameron Bowers, Macally or Masali Jones, and Aliana Jones. The highest of heavens for you. The highest of heavens for you kids.
Mm.
I hope you
Yep.
I hope you live that part of your lives much more comfortably than you had to live yours during this life. And that's it, man. And thoughts and prayers to the dad of the two children, and to the other families of all the other children. Yeah? That's it. That's the bad news for the week, boys. We're out. We're
To say
out.
that's like we've been talking about bad news for like the last hour and a half, man.
I know.
You know, I feel tired. I'm exhausted.
I know it's
I
draining,
feel
innit?
my emotions,
Imagine
man.
me though.
You know what this really. And yeah, you've actually been like researching all of this. That is your choice, though.
I had to.
That's your choice. I didn't decide this. You brought all of this
I
to
had
us.
to write the notes for these, bro. Imagine me typing. Typing. Bunnak Landon carried a 10 gallon chlorine-filled bucket with a 6-year-old child in it. Crazy.
You got no sympathy from me. You brought this on yourself. You brought this onto yourself and onto us.
No.
Man. But it makes me think about like professions where people deal with this like every single day. Counselors, even just like prison wardens and like security guards in a prison, like places where you have to deal with just sad stories, like judges and like even if you're not a judge, imagine you're just a security person who stands there. I say just not just it's a very honorable like thing to do, but like it's not your job to actually deal with any of these cases, but you're standing there listening all day to these heartbreaking cases that are coming up.
Very. And that is the word. Heartbreaking. Terrible. Just terrible. So much death this week. So much death this week. And yeah, I'm sorry if that exhausted you guys as well in the audience. It is very draining to like hear about so much death all the time. But at the same time, hopefully as well though, it does help, in regards to like a little bit of self-reflection, man. With so much death around us, we're still somehow lucky enough to be alive. To have another day of well, for someone like me, another day of prayer and all these type of things. But I mean, outside of that, another day of spending with your family and all these type of things. So let's be appreciative of that with all the deaths that surround us.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, last but certainly not the least, faith in humanity restored.
Thank
news.
you.
Faith in humanity
true, yeah.
restored news. Although this one has like death in.
This better be a
I'm joking,
nah.
I'm joking. It does,
better be a
but it
good one,
doesn't.
man.
It doesn't. Headline reads: a former soldier has completed the 3 peaks challenges while carrying a fridge on his back. So this man.
Oh, I think I did see this. Yeah.
This man, he set out a challenge a couple of days ago, or maybe even last week, where he would climb the peaks of the UK. I think it was Scotland, in Wales, and Peak District. But he would do it in under 24 hours, and he would do it with a fridge attached to his back. And he was doing it to raise money for charity. And the fridge, well, actually, before I go into that, let me name him. Michael Copeland from Stafford.
Okay.
Scaled the 3
Okay.
highest mountains in England, Scotland, and Wales in just under 24 hours to raise money for charity. The fridge aims to illustrate the burden of carrying mental health issues around, Mr. Copeland said. So the whole entire purpose was the journey of having to climb like life, basically, but then with the added burden of being bogged down by mental health issues. And you know, the fridge itself actually had like certain like keywords written on them, certain trigger words anyway, so trigger warning, words like depressed, negativity, self-harm, sadness, and all these type of things. So obviously he mentioned how like during his journey on these things, some people would give him the jokes and stuff like that. Oh, you got some ice lolly in there for me, stuff like this. But then eventually they see the words and stuff like that, and then they understand it and they get it. Apparently, when he was in Scotland, he actually had to climb through snow as well.
Ooh.
But
Wow.
him being a gangster and all these type of things, he said that wasn't even the hardest part though. The hardest part was having to realize in about an hour and a half I need to be back down and get to Wales. That's crazy, bro. It's like I've just climbed up snow with a fridge on top of my back. And mind you, this wasn't no mini fridge or nothing like this. Like, this was a massive fridge.
What?
This was a big fridge. It's like a
Wait, I thought it was a mini fridge. What the hell?
No, this is a fridge and freezer combo refrigerator, bro. This was crazy. Like, this man was doing something honorable, man. And I don't know how much money he raised actually. But I hope he raised a lot, and I hope the money.
Wait, how's he raising the money?
I think it was a GoFundMe, maybe.
Why does he not sell the fridge?
Hold on, what are you doing, brother? What's wrong with you?
No, I'm serious. Like,
What do you mean?
you can make a lot of money.
That's not the point, bro.
No, you're not listening. I think you misunderstood.
You mean
I
sell
mean-
the fridge after he's done everything?
Yeah,
to
yeah,
raise
that's what I mean.
more
Yeah.
money on top of what he's already.
He probably will, but I'm saying
Yeah.
that's not the point for now. The point is that he's carrying the fridge right now.
Yeah, fair enough.
He'll probably auction it off, maybe. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Well, Sai's thinking ahead. Is he wants to raise even more money? You know.
Exactly,
When
man.
I'm not tight.
Mm.
Come on, man. You know?
I mean, I think this is. Sorry to.
No, go on.
Cut you there, but yeah, I think this is a fitting end to this episode.
Yes.
We've spoken about a lot of. I don't want to say like deep or like difficult. I'll say difficult topics, right? It can take a toll on yourself. And I think the wording I actually used was heavy.
Yes.
Before, or when I said like I feel heavy or it feels like a lot or something along those lines, right?
Yep.
And man, like that's from what, an hour and a half, less than an hour and a half of discussing these topics where there's people that are dealing with this just in their everyday lives every single day, waking up with a fridge on their back, going to sleep with a fridge on their back, waking up in the middle of the night, tired, sweating, fridges on their back. Like, plus other people have other fridges and they're going to help those people. Oh man.
That's okay. That's deep. Yeah.
Shout out to those
Yeah, that's
people.
good. Yeah.
And for the people who don't have a fridge on their back, brothers and sisters, if you see someone with a fridge on their back, you don't just go to them and say, "So, just take off the fridge then." You don't do that. You don't just tell someone, "Stop being sad. Stop being sad all the time." Like, pick yourself up. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Give yourself a motivational speech. Bro, it's not like that. It's not easy like that, For some of these people, the fridge is welded onto their back. And it's more than just, hey, pick yourself up, man. Or like, this is when they start talking about toxic masculinity type. When he just goes, "Hey man, be a man about this." What? You be a man about this. I'm depressed. I am clinically depressed. I don't want to do anything outside of wallow in my own sadness. I might be functional, but I am in a dark space. I look up, it's 90 degrees, but I'm cold. It's gray outside, even though the birds are singing. Like,
Wow.
it's different for me and you. Don't just tell someone to just brush it off. Just be there, bro. Just be there. Be there when they're finally ready to talk. Come on, man. I hate that. Because people do that sometimes. Just pick yourself up. What? Shut up, man. Shut up.
I think that's more of a it's becoming less common now, I think, now that like people understand mental health more. And mental health is actually a thing rather than just this I don't know, imaginary thing. Whereas, you know, years ago it would have just been like, just pick yourself up. Whereas nowadays it's not. But I mean, that also speaks. There's also the argument that like rates of like suicide is massively higher in the West compared to like other countries, for example, like countries in Africa, where, you know, people are living a much simpler life.
And specifically, it's much higher in men than
Much
women.
higher, yeah. Massively higher.
Triple, I think.
Mm.
Triple the numbers for women. We've somehow made this depressing again. I told you there was death in it somehow. Listen, people. I have like a dust allergy this entire episode again. People, that was episode 10. That was episode 10. Which means that next week is episode 11.
Wow.
You see what I'm saying? Next week is episode 11. Next week is going to be another great episode, I'm sure. Hopefully it won't be as somber as today's episode was. But, you know, in all the sadness, in all the heaviness of it all, I hope within it you did find some knowledge, some information, and some comfort in its uneasiness. Found a moment of self-reflection, find a moment for self-evaluation, and use that as jet fuel to propel yourself forwards and onwards. Never get stuck in the present so that you get shadowed by the past. People, I appreciate you. I love you. Thank you for staying with us. If you haven't subscribed already, what are you doing? Are you crazy? Don't be crazy. The Dunya'S already crazy. Subscribe to the channel, support the channel, and so that we can go and do bigger and better things. People, like the video if you haven't liked it already. Again, these are always so nonsensical because no one is ever at this point of the video. But if you are, do all these things. That's why I say in the beginning, do all these things to help us. People, thank you for watching. Any last words from you guys?
Next episode is going to be a bit of a surprise, so make sure you guys tune into the next episode.
I will say Ben 10. As everyone knows,
Great
Kevin
show.
Levin.
Great
Kevin
show.
Levin absorbs the Omnitrix. So yeah, episode 11 is going to be an interesting one.
People, ma salama. I love you. I thought the ending to the last episode was so good because I left it. I don't know if you guys saw it. I left the conversation at the end where I just blurred it out, but the conversation was still there. This one I'm not gonna leave. I'm just gonna let it blur out. But yeah, it was super dope. I really enjoyed it. So this time, I think 10 seconds have already passed. Oh, actually, you know what? I'm just gonna start turning off the lights and stuff like this, and then maybe in the blur they're gonna see like the lights turning off and stuff like that. You see what I'm saying?